Welcome into One-on-One on Suddenly Channel 112 live from Studio 318. I'm Reed Spencer, joined by my co-host Logan Moser. As always, a ton going on in the sports world, a fun show ahead. A lot of NFL headlines, a lot of NBA headlines, some NHL headlines. I think there's a National Lacrosse League headline. The secondary
some
football
NCAA.
league, NCAA, secondary football leagues are making headlines, but a ton going on, especially today in sports. So we will start with the NFL. Kareem Hunt on Monday. Oh, by the way, start of spring training.
Oh, yeah.
I almost forgot.
Yeah.
So there is that out there for baseball fans. So Kareem Hunt has signed with the Cleveland Browns, which there's a ton going on with this because the deal, we can get into the details of that, but your initial reaction to him being back on a roster?
I'm not surprised. I mean, he's way too talented despite what he did to not be on an NFL roster. I feel like if he had been on the Chiefs roster throughout their playoff run, they may have won the Super Bowl, Reed. I hate to tell you that, but he's a very special young running back that's going to help the Browns win some games. They're pretty loaded at running back right now. You have Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, and I know Duke Johnson Jr. doesn't jump off the page, but he's pretty good in fantasy, so I like him.
Yeah, I mean, they have a really talented roster.
Yeah.
It's yet to be seen when Haslam, the owner, will screw it up with his ego because that's really what he's done all along. But zero money guaranteed for Kareem Hunt. John Dorsey, the GM who drafted him in Kansas City, is known to take chances, give second chances, and, you know, he drafted Tyreek Hill. And
Right.
the fans in Kansas City at the time were not on board with it. No one talks about that now outside, or inside Kansas City, I guess I should say. But $1 million possibility and that he could earn in workout bonuses and in-game bonuses. I believe it's $25,000 every time he's on the field. But that's yet to be seen when that will happen because the NFL hasn't wrapped up their investigation of 3 incidents, not just the one into Kareem Hunt, 2 of which the Chiefs swept under the rug until the 3rd, and they couldn't deal with it anymore. When do you see – a few questions here.
Okay.
When do you see the suspension coming down? How long do you foresee it being? And will this Browns experiment work out?
I think, to answer your first question, I think the investigation, I assume it'll be done around this time free agency officially starts. I think that's when they plan to have the investigation done anyway. The suspension, I feel like, has to be at least 6 games, 6 games, something like that. And I think this will work out for Cleveland. I mean, it's obviously a smart contract, no guaranteed money. I think he'll find his way onto the football field in the second half of the season. I think he's going to help Cleveland win some games. I think this makes Cleveland a lot better. Obviously, adding a guy like Kareem Hunt makes your roster better. And, you know, it kind of makes me sad, Reed. The Browns, they're not the same punchline they used to be. And I miss that. I enjoy when fan bases are tortured in sports because it's funny. It's funny for everyone else, and everyone else knows that.
I still think it's going to be funny because now, for some reason, Cleveland Browns fans have, I guess they're delusional after all that losing, but the arrogance that you see from Cleveland, it's like, we're coming. Nah, no, you're not. Listen, Baker can be figured out.
Yeah.
Kareem, you never know what the league's going to do with him. I have a feeling they're going to make an example out of Kareem Hunt. John Dorsey has a massive ego, and he can't manage cap space or contracts to save his life. That's why he got fired, in addition to his ego in Kansas City. That article we referred to that was on ESPN a couple weeks ago about the dysfunction. Jimmy Haslam has a bigger ego than John Dorsey. And when they win 8 games, 9, and squeak into the playoffs, by the way, we have no idea whether Freddie Kitchens can coach or not.
That's, yeah.
I mean, he was an offensive coordinator for 7 games, so we give him the gig. Classic Cleveland Browns. So that's to be seen. When they win 8 or 9 games, if they do, everyone's going to be looking around and going, I was the savior. And Jimmy Haslam's going to go, no, you're all fired. It's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Why would I believe in the Cleveland Browns? There's all this build-up to just be the massive letdown, which will be even better, and which will reiterate your love for suffering fan bases.
I really hope so, especially because, obviously, since Baker's the quarterback, a lot of OU fans have jumped to the Cleveland Browns fan base, and I think that's where some of the arrogance comes from. I think that's where some of it comes from. But I'm hoping that you are so right, Reed, because I do. For some reason, I just enjoy it when fans suffer.
Well, I mean, I was in Tulsa Saturday night, downtown Tulsa, and I saw like 4 people wearing OU and Cleveland Brown stuff, and I thought, have you ever been to Ohio?
I've probably never been to OU either.
I mean, it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? But there is that out there, but it is to be seen, the potential. But I And if you don't feel comfortable answering this, that's fine. But do you think he deserves a second chance to be in the National Football League?
That's really tough. I want to say no, but if you say no, then I think you have to apply that to everything that's not a professional athlete. If you're convicted of domestic violence, you have to lose your job no matter what your job is.
Police officer, doctor, lawyer. Everyone should be under that umbrella.
The NFL should definitely make an example out of Kareem Hunt like they failed to do with Ray Rice. They kind of retroactively made an example out of him. He's no longer in the league. Maybe that's the example.
I mean, well, they were clueless in handling that situation. But you would think, like you said, make an example out of him. Suspend him for a year. Yeah. I mean, just say, hey, and it's been taken away from him now. You know, he missed the last half of the season in the playoffs, but you just have to almost say to him, it's over for a year. You can come back, but for a year, and you're on very thin ice to begin with.
And I feel like you also have to implement some kind of counseling. I know the Chiefs were going to help him get counseling. I don't know if he's still getting any kind of help with that, but I feel like that has to be part of the punishment. It can't just be you can't play football. They have to focus on rehabilitating Kareem Hunt as a person so this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I mean, you heard Chiefs GM Brett Veach kind of say the door was open for him to come back at some point because he didn't speak in absolutes. So there was some excitement there among Chiefs fans, but I'm with you. He did something wrong, and if he can fix his character flaws and he can improve, then he deserves a second chance. But he's not to that point, in my opinion, yet. But from every report, he's moving in the right direction. Yeah. Another NFL headline of many that we're going to talk about, Antonio Brown demands a trade, which I don't think shocked anyone, but he demands a trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. He's due $15 million, $11 million, and then $12 million. If they trade him, the Pittsburgh Steelers trade him, 21.12 in dead cap space like that.
Yeah, and that's a tough number, but I mean, if he wants out, and if it affects the locker room the way we've seen, like the Steelers this year, something was obviously going on in the locker room because that roster was way too talented to not make the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs. So I think they have to think about moving on from Antonio Brown. Yeah, $21.4 million is a lot of money, especially to pay a guy that's not going to be on your team. But you have to look at what good he's going to do. And if you can get something back, you're obviously not going to probably get a guy like him back in whatever trade you make. But if you can get something back, I feel like you have to be able to just say, you know what, I'm a billionaire owner. I'll take a hit of $21 million.
You're looking at this Pittsburgh Steelers. They dealt with Le'Veon Bell. Big Ben is a problem. Mike Tomlin seems to be a bit of a problem in the locker room. Yeah. And now you have Antonio Brown doing this. But I think the writing was on the wall for this to happen. He just simply actually put it on Twitter. Yeah. But he's dealt with some personal issues, throwing the furniture off a high-rise, which could have been very dangerous. The investigation into that, the investigation of the domestic dispute a couple weeks ago. Right. Who wants him? I mean, he's still a top receiver, but he wants to be paid because now he says he wants a new contract, which the only reason the teams, it's bad cap for the Steelers, but he's got a cap-friendly deal if he gets traded. Right. But he wants a new deal. He's 31 years old. You have all this baggage I just mentioned. Yeah. Plus, he wants a new deal, and you're going to have to give up a lot to get him. Who's going to trade for him?
I think a team that thinks they're on the fringe of winning a title, and he can put them over the hump. Like, I feel like, I'm trying to think. What are some teams that were pretty close that maybe could? I mean, maybe the Eagles make a trade. Maybe the Bears. Maybe I don't think the Chargers would make a move like that.
I think the Steelers are going to look at it and say, one, and there's been talk on Twitter, he's going to go to Cleveland Browns. There's not a chance the Steelers are trading him within the division. There's not a chance. Yeah. There's more of a chance, but there's a less chance he's going to be traded to an AFC team. Right. They don't want to deal with him. I think they're looking at NFC teams. You're right, teams that may be on the fringe, but they're going to have the capital to go get him. Yeah. And I don't know that there is a playoff team that has that capital. And plus, the Steelers probably really don't want to send him to a playoff team. Right. They would have sent, even though Oakland's in the AFC, and he does not seem like John Gruden's guy, a diva who wants to be paid. Yeah. but they have the picks to go get him.
Right.
But if I'm the Steelers, I would send him to an Oakland. I would send him to a San Francisco. Why would I give him what he wanted? Send him to a bunch of losers.
You're absolutely right. But let's say if Philadelphia comes at you with a better offer than San Francisco or Oakland or whatever, do you still try to send him off just to get away from him, or do you take whatever the best offer
Well, yeah,
is?
you take the best offer because you can't let pettiness get in the way of your own success because, I mean, that's what they've dealt with. But you have to go get the best deal. But if you could get that best deal and send him to an Oakland.
Yeah. I have to ask you, this is obviously everywhere on the internet. You probably know what I'm going to ask you. What are the chances he ends up a New England Patriot? Big fat 0?
0% chance the Pittsburgh Steelers would give New England anything. They wouldn't give them the gasoline to light themselves on fire. They would not do any business with the New England Patriots.
I would love to see that, though. Tom Brady and Antonio Brown.
I would probably pass out if that happened because I would be so enraged. But there's a 0% chance. I mean, unless they just cut him, but there's no way that's going to happen. But this is a mess to begin with. An absolute mess.
Yeah.
Number one team, I know you listed a couple one, but at least in your mind right now, number one landing spot for Antonio Brown.
I'm going to say San Francisco just because I feel like they have a good enough pick to offer maybe a first-round pick and maybe a future first. They're in the NFC. I think that helps. I know that's the one that he says he wants to go to, and that's what everyone's saying. So maybe that's influencing my thinking a little bit, but I just feel like San Francisco is the best landing spot for Antonio Brown, the player.
I mean, that's really the only spot you've heard of a really potential. He's met with Jerry Rice. He's been vocal about that. I think the 49ers, at least, can't come out and say it, but they've at least expressed interest.
Yeah.
And they gave up some picks to go get Jimmy Garoppolo, but not a ton. They didn't give the entire organization away, so there is some possibility. There's Bronco news, by the way, which we'll get into in the next segment. But before we get out of here on this segment, Demaryius Thomas is cut from the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Tore his Achilles in Week 16. They was due $14 million. The veteran wide receiver, no one is surprised that he was traded.
No. Yeah, no one's surprised he was traded, and no one's surprised he got cut after the injury. It's going to be really hard for him to find another roster. I feel like maybe he can go to some team and make some kind of impact, but he's definitely not going to be a number one receiver anymore. I don't know if he'll be able to play and have a good enough skill set and have the explosiveness to have an impact on an NFL team after this injury. So we'll have to see. Obviously, he'll be out probably for a whole year until the end. Next offseason is probably when we'll hear if he's on a team or not. So it's a sad day. It's just a sad day to be a Broncos fan, but we won a Super Bowl recently, Reed, so I'm not going to complain too much.
The decade rule is still in effect here on One-on-One, and it always will be. Yeah, you mentioned, and I want to say this for the next segment because I don't want to have to cut this one short because I'm going to thoroughly enjoy this one. I got to tell you, it's pretty great. If the Chiefs can somehow get a Super Bowl, I won't complain for a decade because that's my own rule. I still will to myself, but won't be able to on here. But, I mean, this is great news. This is great news for me. So you have Kareem Hunt signing. You have Antonio Brown demanding a trade. Demaryius Thomas is out there. The Bronco news. You even have Carolina fullback who stopped a car thief with an arm bar. I mean, the NFL is still king. They are still dominating the headlines. But we have plenty of NBA to get to in the third segment and also Oklahoma State athletics. So we're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk about my favorite Bronco news of the day. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Tinker Federal Credit Union. Visit facebook.com/TinkerFCU. While you're there for your family, we're there for you. Tinker Federal Credit Union. And OSU Communications. Not sure where to park? OSU Communications has got you covered with parking tips and bus schedule information. We'll be right back.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Welcome back to One-on-One on Suddenlink Channel 112 Live Studio 318. You see the now declared NFL quarterback, at least it will be in a couple months, Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that news. The news that we're going to start off with, your guy, John Elway, has traded, and the Denver Broncos have traded for now once Super Bowl MVP, Joe Flacco from the Baltimore Ravens. You now have Joe Flacco and Case Keenum on the same roster. Case Keenum.
They both make a lot of money, too.
Joe Flacco. Oh, got those stats for you.
I knew it.
If Case Keenum, which this deal won't become official until the new league year on March 13th. So the deal, they may come out what's traded and how this deal, went down. But the things of the deal, the details of the deal will not be official until March 13th. But if Case Keenum is still on the roster on March 13th, $47.5 million cap hit for the Denver Broncos. If Case Keenum is on the roster at that point. But here's the good news. If you release him, that goes down to $36.5.
That's a good bargain.
Reminder, the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes on a rookie deal. The Chargers have Phillip Rivers. He's aging, but man, he's not Joe Flacco. Not now. Now, Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl, and he was phenomenal, and he got paid for that season. But outside of that, this guy's been a disaster. He led the league in batted passes last year. He's 6'6".
Reed, I got some stats for you, too. 300 career touchdowns, 51,475 career passing yards, 2 Super Bowls, and a 10 or 11-time Pro Bowler. That is John Elway. He is a terrible GM, Reed. If this guy did not wear a Broncos uniform while he was playing in the National Football League, he would have been fired like 8 years ago. He would have never even gotten this job.
I mean,
he's awful.
I'm more concerned about his monopoly on car dealerships in Denver.
Those are nice. Those are actually kind of nice.
I mean, that's against the law.
It is.
Starting a monopoly. So that's what I'm concerned about. But it seems to me you might be a little concerned about this whole football operations deal this guy's got going on.
I kind of am. I'm just a little concerned about his ability to not find a quarterback. Reed, if he does not get Peyton Manning in free agency, which anyone with a good defense could have gotten Peyton Manning in free agency that year, he would just have been terrible. He would have done nothing good. He inherited most of the guys on the defense that won that championship. Reed, what has he done as a general manager that you can say, that's a good move? I'm glad he did that. I mean, you as a Chiefs fan could probably come up with a couple.
Well, I mean, obviously he won a championship, so kind of like Joe Flacco, you can ride that for a long time, i.e. a decade. You can do that which is fine. But the moves he's made, sometimes you look at Michael Jordan. What's he done with Charlotte?
As an owner?
He just not good.
Yeah.
John Elway, now in football operations, is a top 5 quarterback all time. He's a multi-time world champion. He went to a lot of Super Bowls. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. But sometimes, just because you can do it on the field doesn't mean you have a clue. This is a guy who traded up for Paxton Lynch because he thought the Chiefs were going to go after him. Paxton Lynch. Chad Kelly was drafted by this guy. Trevor Siemian, who was selling real estate in Chicago, brought in by John Elway. Case Keenum, who people would rather give $84 million guaranteed to Kirk Cousins, which is just, Case Keenum's the poor man's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
They pay him a lot. Not to, by the way, Elway once had a chance in 1998 to own 10% of the Denver Broncos for $15 million. 10% of the franchise.
That's pretty, yeah, he passed that up.
That would be worth about $200 million today.
So he's not that good at, okay. I'm going to read you the Broncos' record since he took over in 2011 as general manager. First year, 8-8. Lost in the divisional round, that's fine. Next year, 13-3. Pretty good. That's when you get Peyton Manning. Starts to pick up. Losing the divisional round again. 13-3 again the next year. You lose in the Super Bowl in embarrassing fashion to the Seattle Seahawks. Then the next year, 12-4, losing the divisional round again. And then 12-4 the next year, you win the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. He rides off into the sunset. 9-7, 5-11, 6-10. Has not even sniffed the playoffs since winning a Super Bowl.
It's not good.
It's not.
It's not good.
And your quarterbacks in that time after Peyton Manning, Siemian, Brock Osweiler, Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Case Keenum.
Oh, take it back. His stake would have been worth $388 million. But anyways, here's the problem with where the Broncos are at. And I get trying to a quick fix. I read you the tweet that the new Broncos are the old Chiefs, and that seems that they're just throwing duct tape on. Why just not go with Case Keenum? Because Joe Flacco was phenomenal in that season. He hasn't done anything since then.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson took his job. I don't know anyone that really believes in Lamar Jackson. No one. But he took Joe Flacco's job. Why not roll with Case Keenum? And you have, I believe they're sitting at number 10.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of great talent, but you could draft a quarterback every year until you get it right. This is ridiculous.
Well, Reed, he's not great at drafting quarterbacks.
Oh, Paxton Lynch didn't work out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
That was a great experiment to me.
Yeah. The track record shows he's not a great.
No.
He doesn't have the eye to find a quarterback, which is, like you said, you may have it on the field, but that doesn't mean you can see it off the field. So, I don't know if I trust him to draft a quarterback if it's not Tua, Trevor Lawrence, or Dwayne Haskins or Kyler Murray this year. Like, outside of those guys, I don't want him to pick anyone because he'll pick some random guy out at Murray Tech State, whatever, of Toledo, and he'll suck.
Sorry, I'm kind of doubling on this article because instead of that $15 million that he put in the Broncos, you know what he put it in?
I'm sure something that failed.
A business that turned out to be a $150 million Ponzi scheme.
There you go.
So, $15 million down. Now, he did make close to $100 million on his car dealership, so he's not broke. But here's the problem with the Broncos right now. Elway seems to be a little bit unstable with what he's doing. But the franchise, the Bolin family, is embroiled in a massive lawsuit.
Yeah.
The daughter wants to own the team. No one wants to give her the team. They're in real serious trouble for a team that's had stable ownership forever.
Yeah.
They're on really thin ice.
Yeah.
I mean, they are in trouble. So that's got to play out, and I think they're more worried about that than they are the football operations. Because who's going to tell Elway what to do?
Right.
They're in court.
Yeah.
So there is that, but you do have your new quarterback, Joe Flacco.
He's elite.
That's
the joke.
Looking forward to seeing
that
him.
joke's a lot funnier when he's not on your team.
His greatest play did come in Denver, and it was beating the Broncos in the playoffs. But anyways, we talked about, Kyler Murray earlier, he officially, committed his life to being an NFL quarterback.
Right.
He signed the same agent, Eric Burkhart, as his coach, or not his old coach, maybe his coach, Cliff Kingsbury, the head coach of the Red Raiders. With committing to the NFL, he's got to give back $1.29 of his $1.5 million signing bonus, and he will not be paid the $3.16 million due next month. Were you shocked that he officially decided he chose football over the greatest sport ever, baseball? Kyler Murray's telling you right there, football is the answer.
Yeah, he saw spring training started today, and he was like, I gotta pick soon. And by pick, I mean I gotta tell people I'm playing football soon, because he wasn't gonna play baseball. It was pretty apparent by just the lack of him choosing either one, because he had already been drafted and had a contract with a professional baseball team. If he were gonna play baseball, it's as easy to say, I have a contract with the Oakland A's, I'll be at spring training, I'm gonna be a baseball player. Instead, by keeping silent, everyone kind of figured he's going to the NFL. And I don't really think, a lot of people kind of threw out the idea that maybe he'll play both. I didn't ever really I don't think that's an option anymore, unless you play for two teams in the same city, and that's still really hard to do. I just don't think we'll ever see anything like that again, so football was not a surprise.
No, I think this is, we said earlier when this all became an issue that the right decision for him is what's going to make him happy. Mm-hmm. That's the only way this is going to work. And, unfortunately for the Oakland Athletics, he's going to play professional football. Where do you see him going? At least what pick? Not necessarily a team, because I think, Cliff Kingsbury said Josh Rosen is our guy. There's a lot of speculation because Cliff Kingsbury was gushing over Kyler Murray. That was the week they were playing OU. That's what coaches do. So what pick do you see him falling?
I could see him going, honestly, pretty early. There are a lot of teams early on in the draft that need a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback. The Raiders might need a quarterback. The Jaguars need a quarterback.
We've never seen Kyler Murray cry on the field.
That's true. Trying to think of where else he could go. The Broncos obviously need a quarterback.
No, they don't. They've got two.
Yes, we do.
And they're paying them almost $50 million apiece.
And why not just sit both of them and play a guy on a rookie deal? I don't know. Anyway, Buffalo does not need a quarterback. Cleveland doesn't. Cincinnati doesn't.
The Giants are an interesting one.
I think the Giants or the Jaguars. I think those will be the two teams that in the early round take a quarterback. So I'd look for Dwayne Haskins and Kyler Murray to end up on those two teams.
So there's the same really argument that it's almost identical, although Baker didn't have the option of playing baseball. You win a Heisman, everyone's talking about your height, your leadership, everything's in question. At least in Baker's first year, and only time will tell how it'll work out in the end. But he seems to be rolling in Cleveland. Does that help Kyler's case out in drafting? Because the Saquon, Kyler Murray backfield pretty special.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot what Baker was able to do this year. And I think just the way the NFL's moving in general, it's kind of more college system-like. And Kyler Murray had a ton of success, obviously, in a college system. I think the height matters some. I don't know how much it matters still, but I don't know if you can be 5'10", as he's listed in the OU media guide. We'll see what his official measurements are at the Combine. But I think I could see him going to New York. Him and Saquon would be fun.
Well, we will tell in April, and we'll be talking about the Combine and the draft when that time comes. Vinny Curry was cut from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after 6 years in Philadelphia, signed a 3-year deal with the Bucs, but he is cut, so he will undoubtedly find a landing spot.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk about Westbrook's triple-double record and why Joel Embiid was that close to keeping an extra $50,000. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Christian University. Get your master's degree in accounting, business administration, theology, engineering, computer science, or cybersecurity from Oklahoma Christian University. Apply at oc.edu/grad. Oklahoma University is committed to offering the best graduate school experience we possibly can. Come learn and grow with us. And The Table. Stop by The Table on Thursdays at 8 p.m. to join their Bible study. Shoot Rachel an email at rachel@thetableosu.com for more information. We'll be right back.
my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
Welcome back to One on One on Sunlink Channel 112, live studio 318. As you see there, the 10th straight triple-double for Russell Westbrook, which broke the 9-game triple-double streak that Wilt Chamberlain once set. So now Russell Westbrook has already been in the record books for a while, but he's in there again. How impressive is this streak for Russell Westbrook?
It's super impressive. I mean, you mentioned Wilt Chamberlain. He has so many records in the book. It's great. Like, he basically dominates the NBA record book. It's insane if you can break one of his records. 10 straight triple-doubles, hard to do. What's even more impressive for me is that in 9 of those 10, they get a W. They win the game. And in this one, Paul George also had a triple-double. They were the first pair of NBA teammates to both have 20 points in a triple-double. Great game. The Thunder are playing really, really good basketball right now. We'll have to see if they can carry that into the postseason, but look at that. That's impressive. That guy might be MVP. But back to Russell Westbrook. What he's doing, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like it in our lifetime, Reed, but it's definitely impressive.
It is incredibly impressive. I think the tandem of Westbrook and Paul George is going to be something special. Not going to win a title, but it is going the right way for the Thunder right now. He's averaged triple-double 2 years in a row.
Right.
This triple-double. This is a bit of a crazy question because he has many years left.
Yes.
If his career ended today, what would his legacy be among the greats in the NBA?
I think he would finish as a top 10 point guard of all time. That's probably pretty crazy to think about, but he's transformed himself so much in the past couple of years. He started out as a guy that was probably a 2-guard, just playing the point guard, couldn't really distribute, get the guys involved. If he finishes on track the way he is right now, he will have led the league in assists for 2 years straight, averaged a triple-double for 3 years in a row, won an MVP, and we'll have to see how far they can go in the playoffs. But one finals appearance obviously did not do too well in that finals, but he's cemented himself as one of the greats of all time. And I feel like he's going to have a better reputation, not a better, but he'll have a long-lasting reputation off the court just because of what he does, like the way his attitude, his fashion, stuff like that. I think he has cemented himself in NBA history.
Well, what he has been able to do is really hard to do. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, no one else has done it. I first averaged that triple-double since Oscar Robertson. Then he did it 2 years in a row. Now he's got 10 straight triple-doubles. James Harden is on this 30-point-a-game scoring streak, which I think is less impressive.
Yeah, especially some of the ways he's gotten his 30 points when they're up by 15.
At the free throw line, garbage time points. Yeah, I totally agree with you. But it has been very difficult.
Right.
The GOAT thinks something else is more difficult. Hear from John Elway. Hear from Michael Jordan right here.
Uniquely, it shows the talent, that we have within the league. It shows still the progression within the league. I'm very proud about what both guys have done because they're making their mark for the league, and I think it really helps the growth of the league, which is harder from a player standpoint. 6 championships by all means.
So you heard from Michael Jordan there.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would disagree with the legend right there.
Yeah.
Obviously, winning championships is hard to do than anything else. And I think if you would ask Michael Jordan, would you give up even one of those championships for averaging a triple-double 5 times? He would, or every season he would laugh in your face.
Oh, yeah.
If Russell Westbrook, I think Russell Westbrook is a very selfish basketball player. But if he could give up these records for one championship, I think he would undoubtedly do it.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. And I think if Russell could do this and win a championship, that'd be all the better. I think that's how he thinks they have to win a championship, is him playing like this. But, yeah, I agree. I don't think anyone would give up a championship, a ring, to say they average a triple-double because, you know, I guess records are kept forever. But to have a physical ring and say, you know, I was the best of the best for a year, no one was better than us, I think that's pretty hard to beat. So, yeah, I agree. I don't think anyone would trade that in. But when you're Michael Jordan, you might think you have one to spare. I doubt it. I bet LeBron would take another couple championships.
Yeah, he's like the opposite of Tom Brady. If he goes to the finals one more time, he'll tie Tom Brady for trips to that championship appearance.
But he'll lose. He'll have like the inverse record.
What's he, 3-5 now? 3-6? That's tough. That's a tough record. But what they've been able to do, all of them, from Westbrook to Harden to Jordan, obviously Jordan has the record everyone wants.
Right.
But they've all been able to do is impressive. How many more games do you think will in this streak for both of them? How many triple-doubles in a row will Westbrook have, and how many games will James Harden score 30?
I think Harden's streak will last longer than Westbrook's just because
it's easier to do.
Yeah, it's much easier to do, obviously. I also think that I feel like Russell has just changed so much about how he is. He has given up the ball a lot more. He's letting other people run the offense. It's not him all the time. I think he's kind of realized I can't burn myself out in February and March if I want to be playing in June. James Harden has yet to realize that. That guy will dribble. I think he's first in the league in dribbles. He's probably leading the league in usage rate. He leads the league in minutes. He's setting himself up, I should say, for another 6-point loss in an elimination game and just disappearing, as he's kind of known to do. And it's because he does stuff like this in the regular season where he just goes crazy and has these awesome numbers, but then he doesn't show up in the playoffs because he's way too tired. I think Russell's streak will probably end in the next week or two. No, the All-Star break's coming up. Are you counting the All-Star break? If he doesn't get a triple-double, that ends the streak?
No, we won't count it. We won't count it. I wanted to, but I won't.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'll end either right before or right after the All-Star break. Harden's streak may go to the end of the season.
If he gets a triple-double in the All-Star game, all of you anti-Pat statting deniers can deal with it, because if he gets a triple-double in the All-Star game, there is no denying it. No denying it. And I think, these last 10 have come honestly. But you look at the back end of that first season of averaging, there were some times where the guy was definitely trying to get numbers, but you can't knock it because he is now in the record books.
Right.
Logan, why can't the Los Angeles Lakers stay out of the headlines, at least in the negative way?
I mean, what else? There's not a lot of positive stuff to talk about, Reed.
I mean, Elton Brand's now a liar because of what he said on the radio. I mean, that Ben Simmons, they contacted the Lakers. The Lakers then contacted the 76ers to get this done. I don't have a problem with the deal, because what's wrong with Magic and Ben Simmons having lunch in the offseason and just talking about basketball? Just talking about basketball, because you can't listen. These guys see each other. These guys are friends. What are you going to manage the tampering?
No, you're right. It's definitely hard to manage, but it would be so much easier for me to say, yeah, that's no problem if Magic Johnson didn't run the Lakers. And that's why they want Magic to run the Lakers, is so he can meet with guys like this and, be like, hey, would love to see you in a Lakers uniform. But you can't. I don't think you can do that unless they're they're already a free agent. I'm not a fan of just letting guys talk with executives from other teams, no matter who they are. I mean, if someone was like, I want to meet with Sam Presti and just talk about my business deals, that would probably be seen as tampering, because he's Sam Presti, he's not Magic Johnson. He doesn't have anything to offer as far as on the court skills. Wanting to work with Magic Johnson is totally fine, but it's just his position within the Lakers that I have a problem with.
I mean, if it's a constant deal, I don't mind with having a talk, but I don't like if this becomes like a relationship deal where I'm texting Magic.
Yeah,
that's not okay.
Do you want them to work out together?
I don't have a problem with being like, hey, this is what I did back in the day. It's honestly more weird for the Lakers than it is the 76ers. But the fact that the 76ers, at least Ben Simmons, tried to go about the right way and tried to say, hey, we don't want to do anything wrong. And, of course, the teams screw it up somehow and we get headlines out of it, and they haven't even talked yet.
Right.
I have no problem with it. But the league's got to solve this little tampering deal because I'm sick of the headlines. I'm sick of the investigations. Well, it's a joke.
To be fair, most of it's Magic Johnson.
True. Okay, let's throw it out there. I've been wanting to ask you this for a while. This is a disaster. I don't care if he got LeBron James, because personally, I don't think he had any part in bringing him to LA. I think LeBron had his mind set on it. I don't think anyone sold LeBron besides Los Angeles itself.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson is a disaster.
It's pretty close. He is drafted decently. We'll have to see. I think you have to wait at least 3 years. So, what is it? After next year, we'll see. We'll see what happens when he gets a new coach in there. Because at this point, I'm pretty sure Luke Walton is out of there.
Yeah, we could probably have him on the show next Friday. I don't think he will have a job.
New UCLA coach, Luke Walton.
I think UCLA wants to win. I think he wants to win.
I don't count it out. UCLA has been terrible ever since Bill Walton left. So, but Magic Johnson has not had the stellar start. Obviously, a lot of bad headlines. The whole deal with Anthony Davis was a disaster. A utter disaster. No one looked good at the end of that. The Pelicans didn't look great. Anthony Davis didn't look good. LeBron didn't look good. The front office of the Lakers didn't look good. We'll have to see. Maybe they can redeem themselves in the summer and make a deal and get Anthony Davis. Maybe Magic can steal away Klay Thompson or DeMarcus Cousins or Kevin Durant. I doubt that. But maybe he can get one of these top-tier free agents, get a Kyrie, something like that. And then I think we'll start to view Magic as a more successful GM. Because, I mean, would you say what he did with the Dodgers was a success?
Yeah, but I don't think he had much
to do with that.
I think that was kind of like, it just looked good at the end of the day.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he's a brilliant businessman.
Yes.
But I don't know that he's brilliant basketball operations.
Right. He was not a good coach, so it's kind of like that. You may have it on the floor but not off. We'll have to find out.
Really quickly, got to take a quick break, but Joel Embiid was that close. Close.
Just so close.
To not being fined.
I think he wanted to get fined. I think he wanted everyone to hear that and everyone to know that.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was fine swallowing the $50,000 fine.
Yeah, they tell us all the time.
I would have a stroke if I got fined $50,000.
Yeah, you and me both. But they tell us all the time, that's when you get your soundbite, your controversy. Yep. Post-game, post-practice, that's when emotions are running high. And Joel Embiid really did it to himself because no one even asked him a question.
Right.
It was over and he said it to Mike. So he will be fined. We'll talk about the amount of that fine on Friday if it is handed out. So we're going to take a quick break, come back and talk about Oklahoma State basketball, the Cowboys and Cowgirls, and something else that happened in men's college basketball last night. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Air National Guard. Contact Oklahoma Air National Guard at 800-GO-TO-ANG or visit their website at goang.com/OK for more information about how to get 100% college tuition. And Unitarian Universalist Church. If you're looking for a church home, visit Unitarian Universalist Church of Stillwater, located at 320 South Stallard Street. They offer an alternative spiritual path and welcome all races, religions, and beliefs. They're also LGBTQ friendly. Services every Sunday at 10:30. We'll be right back.
Stillwater Medical Center now offers a convenient way to view your health information online. It's secure, easy, and free. Our hospital and clinic patient portals allow you to view results and reports, medications and allergies, track visit histories, view upcoming appointment information, and see your statements. To enroll, go to stillwatermedical.com and click on the patient portal link near the top right of the page. If you have questions, please feel free to call 405-533-6010.
Welcome back in to One-on-One on Suddenly Channel 112, Live Studio 318. Cowboys coming off a few losses here in the Big 12, now 2-8 in the conference, 9-14 overall, are hosting the number 15 team in the country, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. It's going to be a difficult game, to say the least.
For sure.
Jarrett Culver is leading the Red Raiders in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game, So he's their best player. They're going to have to take him out. They beat the number 6 team in the country, last year, Texas Tech, in Gallagher-Iba. Different story this year. Actually, Texas Tech's 15th this year. They were 6th last year. I think they're better this year than they were last year, and they're not even ranked anywhere close. Oklahoma State is not as good as they were last year. There's potential for an upset. You never know with Mike Boynton, but I just don't see it. Although the arrogance of Red Raider fans talking trash about Stillwater and stuff this morning, because quite frankly, they hate Oklahoma State, and I'm not sure why. I don't hate Texas Tech.
Reed, they steal our sign. Like they do pistols fire, or what do they say?
Guns up or something. And they claim it's theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, give it to them. Who cares? They beat Oklahoma State in football for the first time in 15 years, and you thought they had won the lottery.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it. I get it. But come on. Why do they hate OSU? I don't get it. I don't hate them.
Yeah. I don't either.
I don't have any respect for them, but I don't hate them.
You mentioned they haven't beat us in football in how many years was it?
It was since it was 14, 15 years, something like that.
They've lost 14 of 15 in Stillwater for basketball. So it's kind of the same thing. I find that funny. But yeah, they seem to hate Oklahoma State quite a bit. They're definitely the favorite in this. Like you said, last year they were number 6, came in here and got upset. This year, number 15, probably a better basketball team, not highly ranked. But I think they're a better basketball team. Oklahoma State's pretty shorthanded, like we mentioned. I think Texas Tech is going to turn that into, I guess, what would that be? They've lost, would it be 13 of 16?
Yeah, listen.
Or lost 14 of 16.
Oklahoma State, they don't have the bodies to do it.
Yeah.
But if Mike Boynton if anyone can pull it off with this situation, it's Mike Boynton. So I'm not totally ruling it out.
Right.
But I think that Texas Tech probably obviously has the upper hand in this one. I think Chris Beard and the Red Raiders of Jarrett Culver have a legitimate shot to make a deep run. I respect Chris Beard. He's a phenomenal basketball coach, and what he's done with that program, he deserves all the credit in the world, what they've done in their run of success the past couple of years. So I think they're going to be there in March. I think they'll probably get a win in Calgary tonight. But like I said, there's always potential for Mike Boynton upset. They come out of nowhere.
Absolutely, especially if the crowd's there tonight, which I feel like it will be. It's a Wednesday. Texas Tech, they show up for ranked opponents, no matter how bad we are, I feel like. So hopefully we get a good crowd.
Will you be there?
I cannot be there. I have a prior obligation. I'll be running. Hey.
Prior obligation.
I'm helping our friend Landon, running some lights.
Fake fan over here. No, I'm just kidding. I know you've got something else to do. But hopefully everyone else, I can't be there either, but hopefully, the students show up that don't have much going on tonight and fill up the crowd. I know you go when you have the opportunity. You are a good fan.
I try.
So, and it is trying at times. It can be. But the Cowgirls last night.
Oh, man.
Fall to 15 Texas. After losing to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
This is kind of the nail in the coffin on these tournament dreams unless something happens down in Oklahoma City. Texas Tech, now they were 15th in the country. Number 15s coming in back-to-back nights from the great state of Texas. 61-55 loss for the Cowgirls. They were out-rebounded 47-29.
That's what killed them.
Yeah, that and the
Texas had, let me look real quick. They had a ton of turnovers.
I think they had 11 at halftime.
They had 17 at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a plus, and Cowgirls had 11, but you have a +8 turnover differential, and you end up losing by double digit. Oh, not quite double digits.
6.
Yeah,
right?
6. Sorry. My math is off today. Sorry.
It's okay. That's why we're journalism
That's
majors,
right.
not math majors.
That's right. But, I mean, still, that's bad. If you can have that big of a turnover differential, you got to be able to get some extra shots up, get some rebounds. This is a game they should have been able to win. They just weren't able to pull it out in the end.
Yeah, it's difficult. The offense seems to really be struggling. You know, Vivian Gray and Jaden Hobbs combined 50 to take down OU.
Mm-hmm.
They had over 30 at Texas Tech. They just couldn't get it going last night.
Right.
So, tough road ahead for the Cowgirls, but just like the Cowboys, they still have pride to play for, and you still want to win these basketball games, but just not a great performance last night. So, again, the Cowboys tonight, 8 p.m. tip in Galgriva. Go out and support them. You should have been there last night to support the Cowgirls, but you have a chance to redeem yourself tonight. Last night was a weird night in college basketball.
Oh, yeah. It was exciting.
Kansas State's down to Texas. Then they rally all the way back.
Yeah.
They're still leading the Big 12. Kentucky loses on a controversial tip to LSU. Duke's down 23. They storm all the way back. Number 6 Kansas loses to a Penn State team who's made the tournament 4 times since 1965. They're 8-15, and John Beilein gets kicked out before halftime. What do you make of last night in college basketball?
It was great. That is the kind of night you want.
Yeah, upstaging baseball, rude. But
how could they do that to America's pastime?
Selfish.
But it was a great night. That Duke game was crazy. And I told you before we started the show what Coach K said to his players at halftime. I don't coach losers. Is that the coolest? Is that the most
baller move?
Is that the biggest?
If he didn't
boss
get LeBron
move?
James' son before, he just got him now. I don't coach losers. Down 23, boom. That's why Coach K is Coach K.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Louisville, maybe they're having a little bit under the radar season just because, Rick Pitino's not there.
Yeah, I mean, they choked last night.
They did. They choked this one away.
Choked.
They did. But they've been playing really well under a new coach who seems to be a pretty good fit. They've lost their last 2 now. I'm talking about Louisville. Lost to Duke, obviously, last night. Lost to number 22 Florida State. Had a win over Virginia Tech, then lose to UNC. So maybe they can't win the big games, but they seem to be trending in the right direction as opposed to whatever Rick Pitino's doing in his life these days.
Well, coaching in Italy.
For now. We'll see. I feel like he's going to meet some mobsters and have to leave. I feel like he's going to get involved in something over there. Anyway, we'll go on to the LSU-Kentucky game. This was another awesome game, down to the wire. Do you like it when games end on a controversial no call or a controversial call, whatever it may be?
Do I like when games end that way?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Not even for content, not even for the show?
Well, I mean, listen, it was controversial, but what are the refs going to do in that situation?
Right.
I mean, how do you fix that? I mean, listen, it's just, we talk about it all the time. If you get mad, like in the NFL, or I get mad because we didn't get a chance in overtime, you have 4 quarters to win the game.
Yeah.
Kentucky had the entire game to take control. They were the better basketball team. At home in Rupp Arena, that's their fault for losing. You don't lose at that tip. You lost because you lost the basketball game.
Right. Now, Reed, I have something else. Do you know who LSU lost to earlier in the season?
Who LSU? The Cowboys.
They did. So, if my math is correct, Oklahoma State could beat Kentucky. Does that math check out?
OSU,
I did just mess up how many the Cowgirls lost by, but is this math correct?
Yes, because technically, they beat LSU. Oklahoma State beat LSU.
Right.
LSU beat Kentucky. Kentucky beat Kansas. We're leading the Big 12. Problem solved. One-on-one math.
Boom.
Right there.
Fixed it.
That's all you got to do. So technically,
we're the
better
best.
than Kansas.
Technically, we lost to Duke twice.
Well, that's not important. That's a 23-point comeback. That's impressive.
Yeah, that is.
Can't be ashamed about that.
Exactly.
But
what you can be embarrassed about is what happened in Michigan.
Yeah, Penn State's bad.
Really bad.
Really, what's worse, you lose like that against, like I said, a team that's made the tournament 4 times since 1965. 4.
Yeah.
I think Tulsa's made it more than that. Okay? That's difficult. No disrespect to Tulsa, but hey, that's a bad loss for Michigan.
Yeah.
What's worse, that loss or having your coach kicked out before halftime?
Definitely the loss, because sometimes a coach getting kicked out can energize you, get you going, but that's a rough loss.
Well, I'm sure in all 17 people in the crowd in Happy Valley was difficult to energize you. So we're going to take a 47-hour break. We'll be back on Friday to discuss all the news. I'm sure more NFL stuff. Hopefully the Broncos keep trading for Joe Flacco-esque players. We'll talk about Oklahoma State and what's ahead in the weekend. We'll see you on Friday. Thanks for watching 101. We'll see you then.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect,
Achieve, succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.